To respect the people who have joined, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, from wherever you are listening from. This is the East Central and South Africa Microsoft Excel Forum, brought to you by Crisp Excel Training and Consulting. Today we are privileged to have our frequent presenter, and the topic for today is consolidating reports using Power Query.
Okay, now mine. I'll just start nevertheless. Okay, because I don't want to waste the time. But so I just want to get started. So today, what we will be covering is basically we will be covering on Power BI. Okay, so maybe you can show some thumbs up if you can see my screen. Okay, so you can show thumbs up if you can see my screen. And so what I'm going to cover is basically a sales report, as you can see over here. So yeah, wait, I see someone is showing your hand. So
No,
anything visible?
sorry,
Oh, okay.
sorry. Yes.
Okay, so let me just open the file so that everyone can see what's our case study for today. So the case study for today is basically a global Apple sales reporting. You have regions from APAC, like Asian Pacific, because APAC means includes Japan, Australia, Malaysia. That's where I'm from. You have Middle East, you have Africa, you have Europe, you have Americas. So this case study, what we want to do is we want to actually build a report to show to the manager what is the monthly sales performance. And not only we want to show what is the monthly sales report, we also want to actually show like which product is the highest and what model is the highest and so on. So let's get started. So I'm going to open a new Power BI. Okay, I'll just go to the blank report. So if you look carefully, this is the interface of Power BI. Because when you work as a data analyst, the top management, they actually want to actually understand the performance of each product and by total regions. So I'm going to import data from Excel. Okay. And I'm going to choose this file. But since my file is in a OneDrive, so I need to close first, because sometimes OneDrive, you cannot import the active file. So I need to close the file, and I'm going to select this file, 3rd March sales report 2024. And I'm going to press open. Once I press open, you will notice that a box will appear. So this box, they will ask us whether you want to load or transform. Load means basically you want to load immediately to the Power BI. But transform data means it will navigate to Power Query. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box over here. So we have this African worksheet. And if I press load, it will load automatically to Power BI. But when I press transform data, it's basically will be navigated to Power Query. But right now, the assignment is you need to compile these 5 different regions, which includes Africa, Americas, APAC, Europe, Middle East. So technically, you can actually tick all these worksheets. But I'm going to show you another way. You don't have to actually select all the worksheet. Instead, you can just select this one worksheet, and you can, from there, you can actually compile the data. But before I proceed, can anybody show thumbs up if you can hear me and you can see my screen? Because we are doing this via online. So I don't really want you to just feel lost and so on. So make sure the internet connection is good. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press transform data. You press transform data so that we can go to Power Query Editor, because the data right now is not clean. When you want to actually perform a visual, whether in Excel or even in Power BI, you need to make sure the data is a structured. Structured means in a proper tabular format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on transform data. So when I click transform data, what happens is, like I told you, it will go to Power Query Editor. Power Query is a very, very big topic. Basically, it is a 2-semester subject, and this Power Query is where you can extract the data, transform the data, and load the data. But if you look here carefully, I only select the African worksheet. By right, I actually need to select the other worksheet like Americas, APAC, and Europe. So what in this case, what I'm going to do is, over here we have query and settings. So I'm going to press this X the change type, X the promoted headers, X the navigation, because over here we have the X, or you can say that remove it or delete the previous step. So what I'm going to do is I want to remove this, remove this, remove this, so that it goes to the source. The data source basically tells us what is the file, what is the worksheet that we have imported. So we have all these worksheet: APAC, Middle East, Africa, Europe, Americas. But I don't want this range. So I'm going to just select here, unselect the define name and press OK. So right now we have this data. And then I don't really want these other tables. So I'm going to just remove these tables. This table is not necessary, because what I want to know is basically the data, like that means like these iPhones, MacBook. This is the information that my manager want to know, but we don't want this column. So I select all these columns. I press delete. So basically we have removed the column, and I want to expand this. I press OK. So right now it has the entire workbook. It has the worksheet for APAC. It has the worksheet for Africa. It has the worksheet for Europe and many more. So what I need to do is I need to clean the data. I select these two columns. Why I select these two columns? Because this column has Asian Pacific, null. iPhone, null. MacBook, null. Well, basically, the word null is basically means zero. The word null in German language means zero. But this is not a German course. Basically, in Power Query SQL, whenever there is a word null, it refers that is a blank cell, a blank data. So instead of a blank data, I want to actually fill it down. So I'm going to press here right click, and I press fill, and I press down. So automatically it will fill down. So my manager will get to know that this is the code, this is the region, this is the main products like iPhone, MacBook, and this is the model. And if you look carefully, this first row, this second row is basically not necessary. So what you can do is, under home ribbon, there is a thing called remove row. If you can see remove row, can you show thumbs up? Okay. Why remove row? Because I want to remove the first two row. So I'm going to click here, remove. And of course, here we can remove error, remove blank, remove duplicate, alternate, bottom. But what I want to choose is top row, because the first row and the second row is the top row. So I select the top row. A box will appear. They will ask me how many rows you want to remove. The first row, the second row. So 2 rows. And I press OK. When you press OK, what happens is it will remove the top row. And then eventually what I want to show is basically I actually want to put this January, February, March as the header. So what I'm going to do is I want to put here use first row as header. So once I put use first row as header, so my dear friends, can you see? Do you notice the difference? Basically what happened is we have January, February, March at the first row. But when you use first row as header, the first row will be promoted as the header. And what I want to show to my manager is I don't want the total, I don't want the null. So I need to clean. So I'm going to click it over here. I want to unselect the null. I actually want to unselect the total. If you see here carefully, I unselect the null, I unselect the total. I press OK. So right now the data is cleaner, because here you have products, here you have models. Next, I want to go to the next column. Okay, here you notice got column 17, column 18, column 19. It is not needed, not necessary. So I'm going to select this and delete. So basically what happened is we have already removed the other columns. Next, what I'll do is, if you look here carefully, we have January, we have February, we have March up to December. So what I want to do is I want to unpivot the column. So I'll select January, I will scroll to the right. I press shift. I press December. So basically we will select this column. You go to transform and you press unpivot column. So when you press unpivot column, you will notice there is a difference. So my friends, can you see the difference? If you can see the difference, can you show thumbs up emoji? Okay. All right. So you may ask me right now, actually, how am I supposed to just say understand what is unpivot? So over here we have query settings. So what I'll do is I will just unselect this unpivot column. When I unselect unpivot column, what happened is we have back like January, February, March, April, May until December. So if just say what is unpivot. So I select the January until the last column, which is December. And then I go to transform unpivot. Unpivot means it will actually convert to two different columns. So if you can see unpivot column, can you show thumbs up emoji or celebration emoji? Unpivot column means convert to two different columns. Again, I repeat, unpivot column means will convert to two different columns. Sorry. So one column is attribute, one column is value, whereby the attribute column has list of months and value you have all the figures. So let me just undo this. So in Power Query, you cannot have Control Z or you don't have the undo button. Basically, you normally undo in the query settings. But what if just say you accidentally close the query settings? Because of human error, you accidentally close this. Basically, query settings is the place where you can undo. But what if you accidentally close? You go to view. Can you see the view tab over here? If you can see, can you type yes in the chat box or you can use show thumbs up emoji if you can see view and query settings. So this is query settings. This is where you can actually undo. So right now what I want to do is I have showed you what is unpivot, but you don't have to highlight all the columns. Instead, you can actually select the few columns like this. These four columns you highlight, right click, unpivot other column. So you can either unpivot the existing column or you can unpivot the other column. So just like that, the other column will be unpivoted. So initially, the data, like you've seen over here, is very messy. For example, I show this is the data which is very messy. But right now, the data is cleaner. So what I'm going to do is I want to rename this. This one is the code. When you work in a company, you will have like a cost element, GL code, SKU number, employee ID. So this is the code for region. And then this is the region column. This is the products column. This is the models column, like the main products and so on. This one is the months. You may ask me, now here you have January, February, March. Why there is no April? Why there is no December? Well, if you look here carefully, when you look here carefully, January we have numbers, February we have numbers, but we don't have any data for April, May and June. And bear in mind, what I select is, I select the March sales report. So in March sales report, you have January, February, March. So in this case, what I need to do is, if just say the columns is blank or null, it will only capture the columns that has data. So what I'm going to do next is, of course, I want to format this instead of ABC123. I format as whole number. And then if you look here carefully, in region, we have Africa, we have Americas, we have Europe. But if you notice carefully, this is not consistent. What is consistent? Consistent means Africa, capital A, Asian Pacific, capital A, Americas and Europe, all big letter. We call it uppercase and everything is capital letter. So sometimes when you want to share to the board of directors, you need to make sure it is a consistent reporting. So what I want to do is go to transform, under format. It's up to you whether you want to choose uppercase or you want to capitalize each word. So when I capitalize each word, what happens is it becomes a proper case for all the region. Okay. So now if you look carefully, this report is not an African worksheet. Yes, we select Africa worksheet, but it concises every region. So I'm going to put here as global sales. All right. And then I'm going to go to home. I press close and apply. When I press close and apply, what you will notice is it will eventually load to Power BI desktop. So my dear friends, can you see there is global sales over here? If you can see this, can you show thumbs up? So basically we need to clean the data. We need to clean the data to just make sure the report is clean. And from there, we can actually prepare a exciting worksheet. So basically, if just say, I want to know, for example, the product performance. So I can click this table visual. I can just tick these products. I can tick this value. So what happens is you can actually understand that this is the product performance. And then if just say you want to know in a proper format, you can actually select the value over here. Can you see there's a 1000 separator over here? Some people will call it comma. Some people will say 1000 separator. Can you see this? If you can see this inverted comma, can you show thumbs up? So I'm going to click on this inverted comma or 1000 separator. Click it over here. You will see that you can have this 1000 separator. It is actually very small. So I want to show to you how we can make it bigger. If you have a pen and paper, what I'll suggest to you is write this down. This one is what they call as format your visual. In Power BI, when you want to change the color, you want to change the layout, you want to change the format, you need to go to format your visual. Bear in mind, when you click on the screen, it will show different. So you need to make sure you click the existing visual to make it active and click on this format your visual. Go to values because it's very small. Even if I expand, my manager cannot see. So I need to go to the values. I put here 20 and just like that, you can see which is bigger. So from here, we can understand that iPhone is the largest, followed by iPad, followed by Apple Watch. And then if you want the header to be big, you can do what? You can actually go to column header. Column header, you put here 20. And just like that, it becomes bigger. And what I want to do is, I don't want the word sum of value. So I go to add data to your visual. Over here, we have add data to your visual. Can you show thumbs up if you can see add data to your visual? So if you want to change name or you want to add visual, you can just double click over here. You can put as sales performance, depending on the grammar. Okay, depending on the grammar that you want. So sales performance. Okay. So here we notice that we can tell to the manager in the global, we notice that iPhone is the highest. So I can just drag the value over here, put it one more. So here we have sales performance, but I will click on this drop down here. Show value as. Can you see show value as? If you can see, can you show thumbs up? So here we have show value as, and I'm going to put percent of grand total. The purpose is basically to tell to my manager what is the sales apportionment and sales allocation, because we need to know that data analytics is not about data cleaning or data analysis. It's also about data visualization and more importantly, data storytelling. You can tell a story to your manager that about 50% of the sales, is dominated by iPhone. about 50 you plus with 24. That means when 47 you plus with 24, it is almost 75%. 75% plus 20%, it is almost 90%. Okay, 75 plus 20 is about 95%. So basically about 95% of the sales is dominated by iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch. So this is how you can tell a story behind the numbers, because 47 plus 24, it is almost 75%. Or if you want specifically, it's about 72%. 72% plus 20%, it is almost 93%, 94%, 95%. So 95% of the sales is dominated by iPhone, iPad, and Apple Watch. And if you want to show an interactive visual, you can click on the slicer, and then from here, you can actually choose basically a slicer for a region. And just like that, if you click Africa, what we understand is Africa also have iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch as the top 3 items. Americas, well, Americas, we notice that Apple Watch has higher allocation, about 20%, 21%. Asian Pacific, I'm from Malaysia. So in Asian Pacific, more than 50% is dominated by iPhone. In Europe, we get to know that it's still the same thing, but we notice that Europe also has less than 50%, almost 50% dominated by iPhone. And here you have Middle East as well. So this is how you can tell the story behind the numbers. And if you want to know what is the top 5 models, click on the white color screen. You click on this any visual, whether you want a pie chart or you want clustered bar chart. I'll choose clustered bar chart. So it will be over here. So I'll just drag and show to all of you what we want. Okay. And then from here, I want to click on the models and I want to click on the value. So from here, we get to understand that when I click on the model, I click on the value, we notice the number 1 product is iPhone 14 Pro Max in Middle East. But when I clear, well, we have iPad as the highest sales. Now, I don't want this visual to show all the models. Instead, I want to filter it to top 5. So, instead of basic filtering, I choose top N. Why? Because I want the top 5. So, you click here, 5, you drag the values, you put it over here and apply filter. So, if overall iPad is the number 1 product, when you click Africa, you get to know that iPad 10 generation is the number 1 product. In Americas, the same thing. In Asian Pacific is iPhone 14 Pro. Europe, iPad 10. Middle East, iPhone 14 Pro Max. And if you want to know the numbers, you go to format your visual and you can show the data label. And just like that, you can actually understand the data better. So ladies and gentlemen, this is basically how we can actually compile the 5 different reports and we can actually show to our manager. But there's one thing that I need to share to you. Well, if just say your manager want to see, like maybe the monthly report. So just say I click it over here and I just tick the months and I tick the value. And of course, since it's very small, I want to make it bigger. So I go to values, I make it 20 or maybe 30 so that everyone can see. And the column header, I make it 30 so that everyone can see as well. So right now, I need your help. Just let me know, do you think the visual is correct? If you think it's correct, please type yes in the chat box. If you think it's wrong, please type no in the chat box. Do you think February is the first month? Do you think February is the first month of the calendar year? Well, you can have a financial year that starts from August, a financial year that starts from February. But when we have a calendar, you will notice that the calendar starts from January. January, February, March. But this report, do you think it's correct? If you think it's correct, please type yes. But if you think that this report is wrong, please type no. What do you think, my dear friends? Anybody can just show thumbs up, or you can just type in the chat box. So nevertheless, I will try to proceed. So why? Why the reason is because when you talk about Power BI, basically, they don't recognize what is January, February, March. This for them, when you go to transform data, you can go to Power Query. When you go to Power Query, you will see the data type. Like the ABC indicates that the column is a text column, and the 1, 2, 3 indicates it's a numbers column. You can actually be a decimal number, whole number. But in this case, this column, it is a ABC. ABC is an abbreviation or a symbol for text. Normally, for January, February, March, April, it should be either a date column or date item. But in this case, it is a text. When it is a text, it should be sorted, will be A to Z, not from oldest to newest. So I need to create a dummy table. So I'm going to press your right click. I go to duplicate. So this duplicate, I'll create a dummy table. So I want to actually have the months column only. So I choose column. Can you show thumbs up emoji if you can see the choose column? I click it over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unselect all and select the months. Press OK. So right now we only have the months column. Then I go to remove the duplicates because I don't want the other January, February. Remove duplicates. There you go. Then I go to add column and click index column. And just like that, you will have the only months and also the index. The purpose of the index is basically to show the sequence because the months column have text January, February, March. This index serves as a sequence. So before I close and apply, I will name this as month or monthly, up to you. And then I'll go to home, close and apply. And then close and apply means going back to Power BI, and here we have an additional database. Bear in mind, the purpose of the dummy table is basically to create a relationship between global sales and the new monthly report. So there is a question in the chat box. What is the difference between the duplicate table and the reference table? So now let me just show you. When you press transform data, it will go to Power Query. When you press your right click and when you press duplicate, it will create the existing report. When you click reference, let us try. So reference report, it will link. But if you look here carefully, it will actually link to the initial report. Okay, but doesn't matter. Let me just undo this and let me just press close and apply so that I will show to you what in detail duplicate and also reference means. So now you may ask me, why did I duplicate the report? What is the intention when I duplicate and why I need to go to the model view? So if you can see model view, you can see these two different tables. Can you actually show thumbs up emoji or can you show a fire emoji? All right. So right now, the purpose of duplicating the query is basically duplicate is because you're creating an existing one based on what you created. And the purpose of duplicate is to create a dummy table. This dummy table will have the months and will have the index. The months and the index because to tell to Power Query, to tell to Power BI that this table should serve in a proper sequence. Like January as the first month, February is the second month, and March is the third month. So next what I need to do is I'll go to my report view. I'll go to this month, select this month over here, and I want to click on sort by column. So if you can see sort by column, my dear friends, can you show in thumbs up emoji? All right. So if you notice carefully, instead sorting by months in alphabetical order, I want to sort by index because the index actually serves as a sequence or to let the Power BI make sure the months sorted properly. So now I unselect the months and select these months. When I select these months, you have January, February, March in the proper format. You can go to add data to your visual and just overchange like this. And now it looks better. But wait, what if just say I have a next month report? I have the May report, the June report. Well, you don't have to worry. You don't have to redo everything. Why? You can go to home. You can go to transform data. Over here, we have data source settings. So my dear friends, can you can you show thumbs up emoji if you can see data source settings? I'm going to show you data source settings because I want to change the source. I change the source because this is March. I go to browse. I select April because just now is March. Now is April. Press open, press OK, press close. And then you will notice the pending changes will appear. Can you show thumbs up emoji if you can see this? You need to press apply changes. And just like that, you will notice that there will be changes and there will be the additional data. Let me show you one more time. Transform data, data source settings, change source, go to browse. And just now we select April. Now we select May, we select open, we select OK, we press close and apply changes. Just like that, you have the data reflected accordingly. So my dear friends, can you see the difference? If you can see the difference, because initially it was 106, sometimes it's being updated, different and so on, it will be reflected accordingly. So my friends, did you learn something new? If you learned something new, can you type yes in the chat box? So to answer the question in the chat box, the difference between duplicate and reference. Duplicate is basically you are creating an independent copy of a query. But reference, wait, let me show you. What is reference? Reference that actually use, I'm going to press your right click and click a reference. So right now, whatever happens is just say, I remove the value. I remove the value. I remove here. You go to global sales. Do you notice the value is missing? If you notice the value is missing, can you type yes in the chat box? Okay, maybe let me do one more time so that people understand what is the difference between duplicate and reference. So let me just show you. Well, the word duplicate means, because there's a question in the chat box. The question says that, what's the difference between duplicate and reference? Duplicate is creating an independent copy of an existing query. Reference means any changes in the original data will be affected in the current query. So my dear friend, did I answer your question? Maybe I'll show you one more time so that you can understand. So just say I remove these 3 columns, my dear friend. I remove all this and I go to this new visual. You will notice that it changes accordingly. Yeah, there you go. So, yep. So do you learn something new, my dear friends? If you learn something new, can you just type yes? And I'll just show you if just say you want to know the further case study, because this one is a case study. So just say I'll go to the data source settings. I go to the change source. But what if just say being a human, you make a careless mistake? You're supposed to click on data source, but you accidentally, you click on transform data. When you accidentally, you click the transform data, you will go to Power Query. But don't worry, under Power Query, we have data source settings and we can actually change here. Change source, go to browse and you click browse, you go to June sales report, you press open, you press OK, you press close, and then close and apply. When you press close and apply, eventually you will notice the data will be updated accordingly. So this report I got actually showed to you. So of course we have the detailed report. Like for example, here we have the previous month, month on month trending. Of course, I'm going to give you a challenge. Well, you don't have to prepare a visual like this. Not necessary. But I'm going to go to my LinkedIn so that I want to actually show to you what is my report. Well, this is my LinkedIn. Well, let me just show you. Wait, let me just go to my profile. You can actually connect to me if you have any questions. So what I'm going to show you is, I want to show you the, yes, there's a question in the chat box. Changing data source adds data to existing report. Well, it doesn't add the data. It's just, if just say your month is March, April, May, it's just, you can change to the previous month. You can change to the subsequent month. So my dear friend, did I answer your question? I wouldn't say add data. I would say when you change the data source, you can go back to the previous month or you can go to the next month, because some monthly report, you have additional column. So my dear friend, did I answer your question? Okay, so yeah, I'm going to show you something. So basically, as always, we do have Crispo. So Crispo is always organizing Excel Sunday challenge. That's why I tag him over here. So it's the same report that I showed you. Basically, in this report, you are given a task. A task, of course, you can't see over here. It's very, very small. Maybe let me zoom this. Can you see? Wait, let me see. Oh, I can't zoom, but it's not so clear. So you need to actually use Excel or Power BI or Power Query, up to you. Month on month trending, cumulative sales, percentage of sales apportion, and show me Africa, the top 3 best-selling Apple product models. So I got show you for Africa. When I click the African continent, we notice that iPad, iPhone, these are the top 3. And I show you the sales allocation. And in this Power BI, I never teach you, but I'm showing you, we have the current month, we have the previous month, we have the month on month, we have the trending. That means you want to know whether it's increase or decrease. You know, like for example, when I click MacBook, you know that it's like a volatile. When you click Africa, well, not bad. Africa, you have March, April, May increasing. This is the running total or the cumulative sales. So I'm going to give you the challenge. So if you want the file, you want to actually have access towards this file, well, what you can do is you can actually visit my LinkedIn. You can actually visit this post over here. Let me just zoom out. Okay, so this is the post. Okay, let me just copy this. So I'll copy this link. So under this post, I have showed you the method. I have actually shared in Google Drive. I have also shared in my OneDrive. So you can actually refer the file and you can actually practice together. So my dear friends, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, yeah, you can unmute and ask, or you can actually type the questions in the chat box.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you. Saidi, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
How can I help you?
My question is on the second data set of April and I think and June. So
Yeah.
those data are also mess. We need to clean. And you just import direct. You transform it direct without cleaning, or it clean direct. I don't understand that.
All right. Thank you so much for your question. Well, let me show you so that you can understand this report. You see here, when you're initially, there's a question in the chat box. They ask me if just say when we change data source, whether it will it add a new data? Well, you can actually go click over here, click data source. So basically right now we have June. You can click the change source, and when I click change source, I go to browse and I can click the March. I click open, I press OK, change to file, press apply changes. When I apply changes, my dear friend, you will notice right now there will be some difference. Well, let's wait for the difference. Okay, and just like that, do you notice the difference? We have January, we have February, we have March. But to answer your question is, initially, there is a data cleaning process. There is a data cleaning process all over here. But when you change the data source, because when you work as an accountant, when you work as a logistic, or when you deal with inventories, you get daily report, weekly report, monthly report, quarterly report. So it's a hustle if just say you do the cleaning every time. So this is where you can automate the report with things AI, ChatGPT, and even Power Automate can make things faster. So you can actually automate your report. Maybe the first month you build the flow. The first month you do the hard work. But subsequently, when you have the subsequent month, maybe I put here May, I press open, I press OK, and then I press close, and then press close and apply. You will notice that we don't have to clean again and again. Initially, it will update accordingly. So Saidi, did I answer your question? Basically, you don't have to do cleaning again. It will re-update for you. Saidi, did I?
I think
Okay.
what you need to say, Ellen, also is that the files need to have the same
worksheet
configuration
and
that you are
also
using. Yeah.
yes, thank you so much, Crispo, because it can be a scam for everyone. So basically, I'll just tell thank you, Crispo, for your input. So basically, you need to have the same template. Same template meaning the same header, same worksheet. The worksheet is very important because if the worksheet has a different name, you will have an error. Here we have 5 worksheet. This is March. So when just say I open June sales report, and just like that, I'll show you. When you open the June sales report, yes, we have until June, but the worksheet, the name of the worksheet must be same, and the header must be same, meaning the template must be same. So yeah, anybody with any questions?
Jose had asked, why didn't you not create a calendar table? Why do you bracket table instead of creating a calendar table?
Sorry, like Gantt chart or what? I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
Yeah, so in the charts, if you look at the charts, Jose is asking why don't you create a calendar table?
What table?
Calendar.
Oh,
A calendar
calendar.
table. Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, it depends. It's very, very subjective. It depending on which manager, which management. Some managers wish prefer the simple report. Some manager can actually use the calendar report. It's up to you. It's depending on a subjective preference.
Or Jose, maybe you can unmute yourself and ask the question if it was not well understood.
Hello?
Yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
No, my question was, why don't you create a calendar table to instead to duplicate the months column?
Oh, okay. So you mean I didn't create a calendar table? Of course, you can create calendar table. Yeah, calendar table. That means you can actually wait. Let me show you. I'll share screen so that you can actually understand. There are many ways actually. We can create a calendar table because when you talk about Power BI, it's not limited to one alternative. There are many ways. You can actually go to table view and you can create a calendar table. You can create a new table, like you go to this data, enter data, and then you can click it over here. Well, let me just show you, like you can click a list of months, like for example, Jan, Feb, so on. You can try that. So it depends. There is no right or wrong. It depends on, doesn't matter what is the process, but the most important thing is you are able to actually deliver the data storytelling to the management. There is no right and wrong. You can actually create a new table set. Like for example, I want to create a new query. Okay, I want to actually create a new query. So what I'm going to do is I just want to click a new query or new table. So I'll just click a new table over here, and I can click here generate series date, and I can put here like 2024. Maybe this is the 2024 report. So first month, first day, and then after that, go to date. You can actually click this way. So 2024, 12, 31st, close bracket, close bracket. You can also create a calendar table. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to have a fixed way. You can try many different alternatives. So did I answer your question? Or does it validate your understanding?
Yes, thank you.
There's another question, Ellen, in the chats.
Yes, I saw that.
Can you?
From your demo,
Okay.
you're using a flat file will create a star schema from the flat table, have added advantage. Well, let me show you what is star schema. Is this really a star schema? Well, in model view, we do have like a star schema, snowflake, relationship. Need to understand what is star schema. Well, when you have a table and you have the master file or the main data. The reason what I do is I created a dummy table. To answer your question, I created a dummy table because I want to show the months in a proper sequence. Even without create a dummy table, if just say I now create a dummy table, I'm not able to show the monthly report. If just say I show you my other Power BI. In my other Power BI, I go to the model view. So here also I have this report. You can up to you. You want to say star schema or you want to say just many to one relationship because here got star, here got one. Many means the data appear many times. One means the data appear once. So this purpose is the reason of I create another table is basically to tell Power BI, to tell Power Query that I want to sort the data from January up to December in a proper sequence. That's the intention. So that's the purpose I create a dummy table. So Henry, did I roughly understand answer your question? Because I use the flat file, the dummy data to actually create a proper month sequence.
Yeah, as Henry writes, anyone else with a question? Or
Oh,
is this not there?
not really. Okay,
You can
thanks.
ask your question, Henry. You can unmute yourself. Or Ellen, do you want to give it another go?
Yeah, he's typing.
Okay. Anyone else with a question? Thank you, Ellen, for these sessions. Very enlightening. My question is on the slicer that you had put. Is there a way that you can put it horizontally instead of vertical?
Yeah, you can depends on how you can arrange the data. Wait, just let me just show you. I'll just show you. Just give me a moment. Wait, let me share screen. All right, so wait, let me just copy this link and share it in the chat box in case they forget. Okay, I'll share the screen. Okay, so let me just share to Crispo to answer his question so that he can understand. We can understand together. Well, you don't have to be like this. You can actually adjust like this accordingly. So Crispo, can you see?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Henry, if you can.
Yeah, he's typing, I guess.
Yeah, let's hope so. Anyone else with a question? Please connect with Ellen. Ellen has very interesting topics on LinkedIn. You can also share your YouTube channel. I think you have shared your, yeah. Subscribe to Ellen YouTube channel. Very interesting videos also. Yeah, yeah. And I can see it's getting late on your side, Aaron. I don't know whether you are going to wait for Henry. I don't know for how long he's going to type. Yeah.
No worries. Maybe Henry, you can actually connect me and you can ask me. No worries.